The conflict between Kelly Clarkson and her ex-husband, Brandon Blackstock, was intense and protracted. When he sought a substantial chunk of her fortune, they got into a fight about money. But throughout his personal fight with cancer, they set aside their old grievances. River and Remy, the two children he shared with Kelly Clarkson, were among his bereaved family members when he passed away earlier this month due to the disease. A day after Kelly Clarkson abruptly canceled her remaining August Las Vegas residency appearances, Brandon Blackstock passed away. Kelly Clarkson was left out of her ex-husband's funeral. Brandon Blackstock's obituary was posted online a few days after he passed away. The fact that his ex-wife, who is the mother of two of his children, was left out shocked many. After a valiant and heroic 3-year struggle with cancer, Narvel Brandon Blackstock departed peacefully to be with the Lord on the morning of August 7, 2025. The long obituary said, he was surrounded in his home by his family, who consoled him and tenderly handed him off to his grandparents in heaven, who welcomed him home. The former talent manager's sense of humor was emphasized in the obituary. To love Brandon was to know him. He was a very attractive dude, and he was always pleased to remind you if you didn't notice. It also talked about his move from Nashville to Montana and his new life there. During their divorce, Kelly Clarkson's Montana home was a source of conflict for the ex-couple. In the end, the ranch was still owned by the singer. According to reports, her ex-husband moved to another residence. Up until his passing, he remained in Montana. After his divorce from Kelly Clarkson, Brandon Blackstock led a quiet, secluded life with his new girlfriend, Kelly Clarkson's former assistant. Actually, it wasn't until his new love was included in his obituary after his passing that the public learned about his new relationship. According to the obituary, Brandon began building a life, building companies, and working tirelessly to create Headwaters Livestock Auction, and what will live on as his legacy, the Valley View Rodeo in Bozeman, Montana, along with his beautiful and loving partner in life and business, Brittany Marie Jones. Brittany Marie Jones worked as Kelly Clarkson's production assistant from 2016 until 2018, according to People magazine. According to reports, she and Brandon Blackstock relocated to Montana in 2020, where she kept working as an executive assistant at a club that he owned. Not just Kelly Clarkson's ex-wife was left out of the obituary. Melissa Ashworth, Brandon Blackstock's first wife, was also left out. However, it was brought out that he had 2 children with his first ex-wife, Savannah and Seth. Only a few weeks prior to Brandon Blackstock's passing, his daughter Savannah discovered she was expecting. When Kelly Clarkson first walked onto the American Idol stage in 2002, she could not have imagined how much her life would be lived in the public eye. The first ever Idol champion, she has since grown into one of the most beloved artists and TV personalities in the world. Yet even for Clarkson, whose songs of heartbreak and resilience have defined eras of pop music, the sting of personal betrayal can arrive in unexpected ways. This week, that sting arrived not through a paparazzi photograph or a social media rumor, but in black and white print, the obituary of her ex-husband, Brandon Blackstock. The obituary that shocked fans. Published in a local Tennessee paper before spreading rapidly online, Blackstock's obituary began as most do, with a recounting of his professional life and family connections. It noted his career as a music manager, his ties to country music legend Reba McEntire, his former stepmother, and his role as a father. But what drew gasps across fan forums and social media was not what was included. It was what was glaringly absent. Clarkson, who had been married to Blackstock for nearly 7 years and is the mother of his 2 youngest children, was not mentioned by name at all. No reference to their once high-profile marriage, their shared years on a Montana ranch, or the family they built together. Instead, the obituary closed with a line that set the internet ablaze. He is survived by his partner, Amanda Hayes, with whom he shared his later years in joy and love. Amanda Hayes, a name unfamiliar to the public, instantly became the focus of speculation. For many fans, it wasn't just about who she was, it was about why Clarkson's name had been left out. A public marriage, a public divorce. Kelly Clarkson and Brandon Blackstock's relationship was never entirely private. Their 2013 wedding in Tennessee was a fairy tale that tabloids covered with glowing spreads. Clarkson gushed about her new life, her blended family with Brandon's 2 older children from a previous marriage, and the arrival of their daughter River Rose and son Remington. But by 2020, the fairy tale had crumbled. Clarkson filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. What followed was one of the most public celebrity divorces in recent memory. Fans watched as Clarkson fought legal battles over their Montana ranch, child custody, and hefty financial settlements. Headlines about Clarkson paying Blackstock tens of thousands monthly in spousal and child support became a staple of entertainment news. Clarkson channeled the pain into her music, releasing Chemistry in 2023, a raw, soulful exploration of love's highs and devastating lows. Songs like Mine and Red Flag Collector felt like diary entries, and fans applauded her for her honesty. Yet behind the empowerment anthems, Clarkson was still living with the scars of betrayal. That is why the Obituary's omission struck such a raw nerve. Fans react. Within hours of the Obituary's online publication, hashtags like #JusticeForKelly and #ObituarySnub were trending on X, formerly Twitter. Kelly Clarkson carried that man through half his career, gave him 2 beautiful kids, and this is the thanks she gets? One fan posted. Another wrote, "Not even a mention? That's not an oversight, that's a choice." Podcasts dissected every line of the Obituary. Entertainment reporters scrambled to confirm details about Amanda Hayes, and fans speculated about when Blackstock's relationship with her might have begun. Some even dug into old photographs and social media posts, looking for connections. Kelly's silence. For her part, Clarkson has remained characteristically classy. While she has spoken openly in the past about her painful divorce, she has not addressed the Obituary. Instead, she has continued hosting The Kelly Clarkson Show with her signature warmth, interviewing celebrities, performing her daily Kellyo covers, and focusing on her children. Those close to her, however, hint at the emotional toll. Kelly has worked hard to move on, one insider reportedly told a magazine. But seeing something like that in print, it reopens wounds. She gave so much of herself to that marriage, and it hurts to be erased. A new name in the story. Amanda Hayes remains a mystery to the wider public, though tabloids are already racing to unearth her identity. Some outlets suggest she may have been part of Blackstock's professional circle. Others speculate she was a friend turned romantic partner in his later years. Regardless, her sudden placement in the Obituary as the love of his life feels like salt in an old wound for Clarkson and her supporters. The irony isn't lost on fans. Clarkson's biggest hits often tell the story of being overlooked, underestimated, or cast aside, only to rise stronger. Now, life seems to be imitating art. A legacy rewritten. Obituaries, though short, carry enormous power. They can frame a person's life story, highlighting what mattered most. For Clarkson's fans, the omission feels like a rewriting of history, a denial of the years she shared with Blackstock, years that shaped her music, her family, and her personal growth. Yet in another light, the omission may also serve as an unintentional reminder of Clarkson's resilience. She has never needed anyone else's acknowledgement to validate her truth. Her journey from small-town Texas girl to international superstar has always been about finding her own voice, even when others tried to silence it. Moving forward, while the Obituary may sting, Clarkson's future remains bright. Her daytime talk show has just been renewed, her Las Vegas residency continues to sell out, and she has hinted at new music on the horizon. More importantly, she is carving out a life centered on her children, her career, and her well-being. Fans, meanwhile, are left debating what the obituary really means. Was it a deliberate snub orchestrated by Blackstock's family, a reflection of lingering bitterness from their divorce, or simply a choice to spotlight the relationship that defined his final years? Whatever the truth, one thing is certain: Kelly Clarkson will not be defined by someone else's omission. She has already written her own legacy in platinum records, Emmy-winning performances, and the hearts of millions who see themselves in her story. The final word. Obituaries attempt to sum up a life in a few short paragraphs, but Kelly Clarkson's story is far too expansive, too impactful, to be diminished by someone else's pen. She may have been erased from her ex-husband's final words, but her name continues to echo around the world in every song, every performance, and every moment she chooses authenticity over bitterness. As one fan posted in response to the controversy, "They can leave her name out of his obituary, but Kelly Clarkson has already written herself into history, and that's forever."